Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson here, president and founder of AgileDad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. It's Monday, and I thought what better way to start off the week than to talk a little bit about Agile leadership. We've had a lot of queries regarding Agile leadership and some of the best approaches and things that you can do to help your organization learn how to move more in an Agile direction. There have been lots of articles that have been published and lots of studies that have been done. One in particular that I noticed was a study done by the IMD Business School in Switzerland. And they did this interesting study of organizations who were trying to conduct Agile from a leadership perspective. And they identified some key behaviors that they're looking for. And they identified a technique or a competency that must be necessary in order for you to execute properly as an Agile leader. So I thought it'd be good to cover these today and see if you have any feedback. I'd love to know your thoughts. Comment here on this podcast episode, or, you can always shoot us over feedback at learnmore@agiledad.com. Let's start with those 3 Agile leadership behaviors. The first one is hyper-awareness. This would entail constantly monitoring and evaluating changes in market conditions, developments in technology, and customer needs. Doesn't that sound familiar? Ba-fa-ta. Isn't that interesting? And it would also include observing trends, identifying and watching dominant factors. Consequently, this means that there would be a need to set up supporting processes and people and investing in the necessary people needed to get this. It's amazing. I've been talking about BAFA-TA and how they support the product owner, business analyst, functional analyst, and technical analyst for years. And finally, a study comes out to confirm that this is definitely the right approach. This made my morning. I couldn't be more happy reading this. This is one of those things that it's the validation that you need on a good, bright, early Monday morning, yes? The second one, the second Agile leadership behavior is informed decision-making. This would entail making decisions based on facts and real-time data, ensuring information is available, analyzed, and considered in strategic and day-to-day operative decision-making. Okay, I get that. Facts don't lie, but you also can't just lean completely on data-driven models. One of the things that I've discovered is when you lean completely on data-driven models, you're going to quickly discover that you can manipulate data to tell the story that you want it to tell. So you have to be real careful here. So while I'm not a big fan of people going through and manipulating data to specifically say certain things that are going to cause you to take action, I would much rather see organizations take data when it comes to, facts about consumer awareness, those kind of things, and run with that data. So I think that while I support informed decision-making, I don't want it to be hyper-informed decision-making, if that makes sense. I just don't want it to get too granular, because I think when you start to get too granular, that's when you lose the scope and focus. But making sure you've identified and targeted the right customer, making sure you're making smart business decisions, all of those things are absolutely necessary. And then the third Agile leadership behavior that they mention in the report is fast execution. Bingo. Here comes Agile, right? This requires prioritizing speed over perfection. I like that quote. I'm going to say it one more time. This requires prioritizing speed over perfection. Nobody's trying to buy a piano, right? We want faster delivery so we have an opportunity to plan better, inspect, adapt. We don't need heavy-duty documentation up front. We want to make sure we're making the right decisions and preventing the organization from any overburdening bureaucracy or any overhead that's unnecessary. If you're doing these things, being hyper-aware, making informed decisions, and executing quickly, it's going to allow you to, it'll equip the leaders with the ability to steer diligently in a volatile market. However, to lead people and create true agility in the workplace, there are 4 related competencies that are necessary in order that define Agile leadership. Now, this came out from a couple of different reports, one in 2017 and one in 2018, so I'm not sure who to give credit to for this, but I do love the acronym, so I'm going to run with it. Many of you know that I always use GROW, right? We need to set goals, identify our reality, talk about what options we have, and then make commitments to what we'll do to get towards our goals. This acronym is called HAVE, H-A-V-E, and the H stands for humility. This competency value, it's about feedback and input from others, while being aware of your limitations, right? At the same time, this requires the need to keep learning and treating others with equal footing so that you're treating people with dignity and respect. You're doing all those things. So it ties back to the respect and the force, right? So lots of parallelism here. I hope you're seeing all the parallelism. There are so many parallels. The A is for adaptability. One of the three legs of Agile, right? One of the three legs of the empirical process specifically. This requires that a leader not shy away from changing direction and revising decisions made when circumstances change or when new information becomes available. It requires making sure all of your processes, your products, your services, and your people remain flexible enough to include feedback and adaptability for changing circumstances. This just speaks completely to inspect, adapt, and be transparent. Those pillars are the things that are going to help you be successful, and that's what makes you truly adaptable and truly agile. The V in HAVE stands for visionary. This will require leaders to step back and think big, right? Find the vision. Wear it on your sleeve. Make sure everyone knows when you're setting direction and inspiring others that you know exactly where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. Make sure that vision and strategy statement is clear, that everyone knows, and that everyone knows that which direction you're trying to steer the ship and where our final destination is. And then finally, the E stands for engagement. This competency requires the need to stay connected, to grow and strengthen networks both inside and outside of your organization. At the same time, this will require keeping regular contact with customers and stakeholders while staying connected to the pulse of the market. So it's one of those things where you got to have your thumb on what's going on. This once again ties back to Bafata. Agile leadership can indeed be learned and demonstrated using the three behaviors, and it's all about a matter of focus. That's what it boils down to. Are you noticing this? We're tying back to the force, the focus, the openness, the respect, the commitment, the extreme courage. It's amazing how all these things go hand in hand. The empirical process, the 5 values of Scrum, grow, have. These are the keys that leadership needs in order to be successful. If they operate in a visionary way, if they keep their thumb on the pulse of what's happening within the organization, and they leverage other individuals around them to capture information like a Bafata, there's not an excuse in the world for an organization to fail. In fact, I see most organizations excel using this model. So I hope the weekend was good to you. I hope this Monday was good to you. As always, we invite you to visit AgileDad.com where you can learn more about this topic and many others regarding the Agile framework. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.